something like that. And it's a different animal than what we're really doing here. This is really about the mental flexibility. And your listening piece was, it took me a while to wrap my head around in a good way. You guys will get it because it's vital. It's the whole game. Is you've got to listen, and then as a speaker, you'll get a sense of how that translates into your careers.
It's where wars are won. Who in here does coaching of any kind? Anybody? Okay. And you're a business owner, so you probably coach your kids as well, right? A little bit. Coaching, people don't listen. So often they don't listen. They ask great questions sometimes, but the responses, man, they've got a preconceived notion, or they've got an idea, or they think that they're the ones who should be talking. Nope, it's listening, building off what people are told. So those of you who are coaching, I'm going to tie that in here as well. But the other part of this is, as we get into this activity, and improv as a whole, is Kristen Wiig said, improv is listening like hell, or is listening intently and trying like hell not to be funny. So I don't want you guys to come into these different activities that we're going to start getting into and be like, oh, I need to be witty. No, please don't. Because the most hilarious things come out of truth and reality and what happens in our life. And that's what I would build into these canned little things, even opening with a joke. Like I said, it's kind of risky. That's because people try to be funny. The humor will come out of it. People are going to laugh at things that are just happening in life. So I don't want to get too far off course here, but this is a big area. This is where improv is literally the foundation of improv. If you go Google Yes and right now, it's linked to everything. Yes, Second City, they've got a book called Yes and. There's everything you look at. There's TED Talks, Yes and. I mean, I thought it was so clever when I was like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to call it Yes and. Yeah, guess how many people did that? Great idea. So now my book is going to be Yes and Now What? That's what my title's going to be. So thank you. So for Yes and, here's how we're going to play this. Joe, let's go ahead and demonstrate for him just so you can kind of get an idea of what this is. Now, with this, it's not a first person again. It's going to be a third person. That can be a little bit difficult for people to understand sometimes. So it's okay if you flub a little bit with this, but it's a third person. And that's to say, don't say I, because then it's just like, well, what am I going to say to that? This hotel is so nice.
Yes, and they really take care of us. They really take care of people well.
Yes, and when people were missing their salad today, they brought additional salads out.
Yes, and after those salads, those were some fucking amazing cookies.
Yes, and when there's fucking amazing cookies, there's fucking amazing pounds that get added onto your body.
Yes, and then one has to go on a diet, I guess.
Yes, and when someone has to go on a diet, that means more expenses of more expensive food and diet plans.
Yes, and sometimes then they end up excelling in their career and making the money they need to continue the diet.
Yes, and when they excel in their career, suddenly their marriage gets better, their relationship with their kids get better, all these things start to improve around them.
And yes, and when their relationship gets better and their kids get better and all of that, they become happier and happier and happier.
Yes. So, a couple things to note in there.
Thank you. I needed a refresher on that.
A couple things to note in there. One, again, that third person helps build off of it. We listen intently to each other. But second, we started at this hotel's nice, and we ended on families being, a more, it's happier and creating that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to stay on the topic that you start with. It starts with, or it can go anywhere. The other thing that Joe and I did there is, you could almost see a switch with Joe there at the end.
Yeah.
He started to get passionate about it.
It took me, I had to switch because I had to remember to listen to one key thing that he was the pinnacle of his little piece and build on that key thing, not what I wanted to build on as a whole. So that was the switch you saw, and that's why I say thank you. I needed the reminder on that because that's a critical aspect. So like when he said, what did you say?
Happiness.
Excel within their career. Yeah, and the happiness, all of that. I used the excel within the career. Or I used the It wasn't the happiness. You said something else, and then I
With
sprung.
the family.
Oh, with the family.
Yeah.
I used the family then as the spring point for happiness. You guys follow me on what I'm saying here? You're listening for the arc of the story. What's at the top of the arc? What's most important out of what the person said? Right. And try to build on that. I did not do that early on.
You didn't, but it was okay. It was
okay. Yeah.
But
also, it's a good
but
reminder.
when you got there, you tied it to something you were clearly passionate about.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not only did you start to do that, but you also, I could see your passion.
Yeah.
I could see where it was all coming from. So
well, and I remembered that little key.
Right?
I was like excited myself.
Yeah. But the more you can link to those things that you are knowledgeable about, that you're passionate about, those are going to come through. How does that relate to your speaking? It's this. It's that there's going to be topics sometimes that maybe you're not as excited about. Maybe you are going to be that person who takes on topics that that's not necessarily what I'd go after. There's ways that you can build passion into everything. It's the switch on the wall. How do you make the switch on the wall purposeful for what you're going after? And that, when people can sense your passion, when they can see that you're committed to that, we could talk about the phone book, honest to God. So,
one of the things I just want to point out too, just because I don't normally interrupt this much. I apologize. Okay. One of the things really to watch for with Matt, especially, it's like when he did that last exercise with Steven, you notice how we all stood like face to face with each other and did the, all that stuff. And Matt immediately went over and used that's what he meant by use the whole room. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow in here, how that relates to speaking. But that was a great little nuance that I just want to point out that he did, that none of the rest of us did. And as soon as he did it, Stephen did.
Yeah.
So just keep that in the back of your mind, because it's easy to fall into the guardrails.
Yeah, and people just like to see that more. You're using the stage, you're coming, like literally when I give presentations, I mean, there was one time I was doing a negotiations workshop, and I just did this activity where it had to do with cutting an orange in half. And I was like, and I cut this orange, an imaginary orange. But when I was done with this orange, it didn't just magically go away. I found a trash can that didn't really exist. Then I threw it away as I'm talking about. I mean, you're engaging people on so many different levels with those types of aspects.
Physicality. While you were out, we talked about physicality, using physicality to bring things to life. So
yeah, did you put percentages to the?
Yes.
How important is that, right? 7% your words. Everything else, I mean, that's pretty intense. So, any questions on this? I know this one can feel a little bit daunting, but are there any questions that I can answer with this yes and as that we get into it? You're going to do exactly what Joe and I did with your partners here. Any questions? I don't think so. Hey, you don't have to be perfect. That's what's great about improv. Okay? Don't worry about it. So get in line just like we did for the activity of what are you doing? Okay, all right. And maybe just one person jump on over here.
Yeah. Move it out.
Okay. Now, what we'll do to help you guys is we'll give you a topic. That might help you or hurt you. But with this, what is the topic that we should have these two speak about?
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony. Congratulations. Your topic is My Little Pony. Again, that third person, so not the I. If you say the I statements, I'm going to interject and say, nope, not I. Just rephrase it. So whoever would like to start.
My Little Pony has had a resurgence.
Has had a what?
Resurgence. It's come back.
Okay, and my Little Pony's resurgence, how is that going?
Not a question.
Yes,
Yes, and then you're making that statement.
Okay, yes, and
you tell us how it's going.
that resurgence was amazing. She is at a whole new level now.
Yes, and the Care Bears are back too.
Yes, and the Care Bears are amazing as well. They like to float in the clouds.
Yes, and it seems like all the old toys are coming back again.
Okay, I'm going to pause you guys real quick. Okay? One, I know. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be a little bit difficult. There's moments in here where you can take this topic away from this shitty, animal back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Care Bears. I don't want to talk about My Little Pony. Great. Yeah, you go in the clouds. Yeah, when you're in the clouds, you're starting to think about some other things. Yeah, when you're starting to think outside of the box and into these cloud type of thinking, whatever. But take these things, take it where you want to go. There's no set rules here, but don't feel like you're trapped inside of talking about this topic.
Like what I caught when he did the thing about, and he said, and she has blah, blah, blah. What I did like this for is I was hoping you were going to go with bronies, which are little boys that like My Little Pony. So, you know, you could have gone with, yes, and bronies have made a comeback too. That's little boys who like the My Little Pony. So now you've got a launching point, which is
That's what they are,
boys.
But it's all good.
What's that?
They're grown men that like My Little Pony.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
whatever.
That doesn't make it any better.
I'm just saying,
There's
even
another
little
word for
boys,
that,
but
too.
in other words, what I'm trying to say
Not
is,
that there's anything wrong with that.
try to listen for what's a good launching point out of like one word or one thing that they've done that's the arc to the story.
Yeah, just take these words that you can build off of. It's not these jumps where you completely ignore the other person, but it's, okay, where can we go with this? Frogs, start with them.
Frogs.
Yeah, we're talking about frogs.
Frogs like to travel on tortoises across rivers.
Yes, and there were tigers everywhere.
Yes, and the tigers were in Africa where it's beautiful.
Nice.
Yes, and Africa has lots of amazing animals.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, and the animals in Africa traveled to America.
Yes, and rats brought the plague to Europe.
Yes, and people did not survive the plague.
Yes, and what is up with people not getting vaccines?
I'm gonna pause you guys there. It's okay. No.
No,
It was a question. That's why I was like, okay, we'll stop right there. Let me tell you guys something. A billion times better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah,
So give
absolutely.
yourselves a hand.
Yes, absolutely.
Because
I was trying not to like be too vocal because
It's-
you did a great
you really
job.
bounce off of each other there, you know? And hey, it's the light switch. Commit to it. Because the rats bringing plagues, brilliant. Brilliant. We're talking about animals traveling in different pieces around. So if you were like, yeah, and rats brought the plague to Europe, you know, and if you commit to it, we're like, what? But if you're like laughing at it, kind of giggling it off, it's just like, oh, what's just happening right now? You know, so just take yourself seriously because you got it. Nice, next to
Yeah,
it.
you guys did great. Seriously, awesome.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, what should we have to talk about here?
Blueberry muffin.
Of course, blueberry muffins, natural.
Blueberry muffins taste wonderful.
Yes, and I love it when I enjoy something.
No lies. Say third person.
Oh, yes, and people love it when they eat something that's delicious.
Yeah, and delicious things are in the meat store too.
Yes, and meat can be very good for you.
Yeah, and good for me is a really nice vacation.
Me is the first person.
Okay. And good for people is a nice vacation.
Yes, and it's good to see new things and have new adventures.
Yeah, and adventures is something everybody should experience.
Yes, and I think that everybody should come together and share those experiences.
Yeah, and they should share many other things too in life.
Yes, and especially blueberry muffins.
All right.
Wait, bring it back.
We'll bring it back.
Nice way to wrap it up.
Blueberry muffins went to a whole other level. That's exactly what needs to happen with it here. Okay. Nice job.
It's a fun.
Good. All right. This feels like a title bout right now.
Yeah. Ding ding.
All right. What should we have to talk about?
Camels.
Camels it is.
Camels. Oh, camels are amazing with those two big humps on the back.
Yes, and they are in Sahara.
Yes, and the Sahara is such the most beautiful place to go on vacation.
Yes, and there are so much of sand in there.
Yes, and doesn't that sand get in everybody's toes?
No questions, no questions.
Oh.
It's okay.
Yes. Yes, and the sand is so yellow.
Yes, and they're so beautiful. Throughout that area, it was so beautiful when I went there.
Yes, and isn't life just beautiful?
All right, that's another question. I'm gonna stop you guys there because you still
Yeah,
took
yeah.
it to another level. You were there. You're
Yeah.
starting to get a
You're
little
starting
bit
to get the
this
flow.
and there. So on that, but at the end there, you're starting to get it there. So
Yeah.
just be conscious about. I know that the first person
Yeah.
can be difficult for folks,
Yeah.
but as you start to do this, it's just building off of it. It's allowing, you're being trapped in a way, just like we did for our pointing activity. Of saying, gosh, I need to kind of stay in this line here. Instead of allowing what is being said to you to impact your next decision.
Because like when he went with sand, you know where I expected you to go. Sand on the beach, walking with your wife,
Yeah.
all of that good stuff. I mean, and what's interesting is, isn't it easy to be a fucking genius when you're watching this? I feel
Great on
I answered when I'm standing here, but when I'm facing Matt, it's like,
Yeah, that's funny how it can happen for sure. But nice job, everyone. Honestly, y'all did a really good job. And so a lot of times we have a little bit more struggles with it, but I think that you guys naturally get it. I want to hear from you though. What were some of your different takeaways from that, relating it to what you're here for?
Well, it is thinking on your feet, isn't it? It's just kind of, releasing your brain to just kind of flow with what pops up into your mind.
Not feeling tight, and you're not on the head all the time, and also it's more creative and going out of the box and so many other things, which I'm not really used to.
I think, when we did it, when I switched, my switch was releasing my own agenda. I mean, I've been talking this shit for days, right? But I made the very mistake I've been asking you guys to avoid, and that was being tied into my own agenda while I was in the moment, rather than working with the agenda that I'd been handed and building upon that to make something then hopefully also that would be a great launching point for my partner.
Right, making your partner look good, building off of each other.
The whole
You
rock
just-
star thing.
You think about an improv, like in the actual theater. When people come out there with their idea and they don't take
Yeah.
yours, the audience sees it, they're not happy. They're disconnected, they're like, what? But he just said this. And we don't go with it. Well, it's a miss. Well, guess what happens when you're speaking on stage as well? Yeah, but the crowd is clearly concerned about this, and we're asking these questions, and we're clearly passionate about this, and they're not going there. That's a miss. And they're going to feel that same kind of disconnection from your message there. So aligning, going with it, powerful. Any other insights?
I want to go home and do these with my kids.
I love it. It's
That's
a
my
fun
first
activity.
thought. I was like, these are going to be great.
I was gonna say, Jason, you could do this at the beach house.
Yeah, more times than not when I do these, especially with people with older children, they go home immediately.
Oh,
Zip, zam, boing. That's like a kid's dream, right? Your son was here once, he had a great time.
That's right.
So yeah, it's a great thing to do with your family, and it also helps with listening, right? I talked about coaching. Coaching is parenting. Parenting is just about listening to your kids, helping them understand, helping them have those self-discovery moments, not just telling, but once you can listen to them, and you can hear them say, Dad, I'm not happy when I'm doing this. Instead of saying, yeah, well, come on, you'll get over it, you'll do it, come on, no, help me. Why? What is it about this that you're not appreciating, and you're listening, you're building, and you're yes-anding? Again, the power is within responding to what you're given genuinely.
And that's a great point. That game, during the game, the rule was we couldn't ask questions. But in life, this skill is that is not going to be the case. There will not be that rule. In fact, you will want to use questions when you use these type skills and utilization in life. I was telling Matt the other day, some of you may have heard, there's a television show that I've never watched, but I watched a couple of episodes just because I heard this one thing. and it's called The Larry David Show. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
What's it? Oh, yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Sorry. And I found out it is 95% improv. And when you watch it, what the main character does is he asks questions, and then the co-stars, they have different co-stars in almost every
How
episode.
it got so crazy?
What?
Yeah.
What's that?
That's how it got so crazy.
Yes. And so he asks questions and sets up these different co-stars, these different actors that are famous actors. He sets them up, and they run with it.
Yeah, that's it. You know, you get it, you build off of it, and you go with it. A lot of power in that. So that's what I want you to take away from that for sure. That is the most critical part of it, is that, you know, there's one thing I've regretted since I came here when I answered that about the anxiety and the shit, guys. I would be such a liar if I didn't have. I mean, I want to just be very clear. I absolutely have anxiety when it comes to public speaking. You know, it's something I feel jitters even as I'm coming up here. I mean, I feel it. What I've learned to do is turn it into a tailwind. So I just wanted to make that very clear that this I have, and I love it, but it's a tailwind for me now opposed to a headwind. That's the biggest thing that I understand.
I saw the first time I ever heard that was the Defiant Ones with Jimmy and Ona. He talked about you need to make your fear a tailwind instead of a headwind, and you know all the success that he got selling beats to Apple and all. But I don't get, because I hear it a lot, and I don't get how that works. How do I make my fear, that part of me that says, is it okay? Well, that means you have to prepare more. That means that you have to be more ready. What does that mean, turning your fear from a headwind to a tailwind?
I'm going to share what I think. I think you'll have some points as well. I think that a big thing for me is helping define my why. Like, what am I doing this for? If I don't know why I'm doing something, it's hard for me to, okay, shit. You know, if it's something that I'm not passionate about, or I'm not behind, or it's not doing something for me, that headwind's probably going to be a little bit stronger. But when I know my why, it's just like, bring it. Like, get behind me, man. I'm going for it. But the way that I've also turned it is I have built up my confidence.
Yeah.
You know, I know how to prepare. I know what I need to bring to the table. I, more often than not, I keep forgetting your phrase, but the plug, what is it? The plug, what is the?
Random stimulus.
More often than not, I use random stimulus in everything that I do. It's improv to me, it's everything to me, because I know that the average person isn't going to even freaking recognize if I'm not on my A game. But I know that if I'm bringing something to the table, I know that they're going to want to hear it. Just like in the book, in our work right there, it says, people want you to be successful. People are looking for you to be successful. They want to watch, and just keeping that in the back of my mind, listen, I know that people want me to be successful. So one, getting my shit together, making sure that I'm straight with it, and knowing that my motto is leave it on the field all the time. Anything that I do, I know that I'm going to put it all out there, 100%. I live by my line, just like I talked about my happiness speech today. That's true to my life as well. My true north is what I'm saying it is. So as long as I feel good with that, it all helps me with my. And I don't think I'm being clear with that, but confidence, understanding what my why is, those are the ways that I've turned it.
I would completely agree with that, and all I would add is, at some point, think about it. If you got a call and, you're not completely on your game or something like that, but that fucking phone rings, or it's time to dial, you got two choices. You can either shrink from the moment, or you can rise to the moment. And I think that's really the key to the headwind versus the tailwind, is you just fucking decide. You just say, you know what? They just announced my name and I gotta go out on stage. I'm not gonna shrink from this challenge. I think that's honestly one of the crux, and it's kind of what Matt said about confidence, but that's another way of thinking of it, is I ain't gonna back down from this challenge. It's Tom Petty. No, I won't back down, period. And when that happens, this little mental shift tends to happen, and that headwind that you've been fighting against, the jitters and all that shit that you got, prior to the moment they announce your name, you walk out on that fucking stage, something happens and it becomes a tailwind. Does that make sense?
Let me make one more link to you, because I know family is a big thing for you. So, if somebody said that they were messing with one of your kids, how much would you allow fear to impact how you
Fear
act?
wouldn't even be a factor.
But here's why I'm asking that. Because your why is hella strong with your kids. There's nothing that would shake that. That's why for me, the why is really important.
Yeah. Oh, and I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that you don't.
Yeah.
But what's important for me to get you guys to understand is that some people want to be a public speaker. But not everybody is meant to be a public speaker, right? I think that just honing your skills and being better as a better person, perfect, that's great. Not everybody is, and I say that because sometimes people want to be a public speaker because they think that it just sounds cool, you know? Like I want to go out and do that, right on. But if that's what your why is, shit's gonna hit the fan. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna be rocked. You don't have the passion behind you to get through those shitty moments where people are assholes, or maybe they don't want to pay you, or they want to have that refund. You know, you gotta really, like any entrepreneur, which I think that public speaking is an entrepreneurial piece. If you're not passionate about it, to get through the hard times and the challenge and putting yourself out there, it's not gonna happen. So I never get on this kind of a soapbox with this type of a thing, but I just wanted to make a link because of your question, because that's truly how you piece it. So I apologize for the diversion there.